forecast tonight, quite chilly, lows in the mid-40s. The south wind will continue. Tomorrow, south winds 20 to 40, high at 72. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
Good morning. Great to have you along this morning. Just getting ready to launch, so thanks for being here. I very much appreciate it. Okay, here we go.
And Kello.com. The Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
I love the Greg Belfrage show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio. Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I don't believe in a no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage Show.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show on this Wednesday morning, October 16th. So we have, there's a lot of news involving the candidates. Both of the candidates will be on Fox today. Donald Trump will be, actually, this was filmed yesterday. And this is Donald Trump in it will air this morning, 10 a.m. Central Time. So 10 a.m. this morning on the Faulkner Focus. And Donald Trump sat down with Harris Faulkner in Georgia, speaking with an all-female audience about issues then that will affect them. And again, this will air this morning at 10 a.m. It's a big news. It's a big day for Fox News today, Fox News Channel. Starting with this. And then Kamala Harris a little later today. I'll tell you about that in a moment. So Harris Faulkner said women constitute the largest group of registered and active voters in the U.S. So it's paramount that female voters understand where the presidential candidates stand on the issues that matter to them most. And she said, I'm looking forward to providing our viewers with an opportunity to learn more about where Donald Trump stands on these topics, she said. So this is all female audience, questions all coming from women. And we'll see how it goes. There's really not a lot more information beyond that. You have to tune in this morning at 10 a.m. Central Time to the Faulkner Focus. So Georgia is a big state. It's one of the battleground states. So Trump won that state in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, but the state flipped then in 2020 to Joe Biden. And according to Fox polling, the top issues affecting women this election cycle include abortion, the economy, immigration, and healthcare. And Trump expected to discuss those issues at length during the town hall. So Trump, you'll remember, I talked about this previously. He had a Truth Social post last month. And he promised on Truth Social to protect women at a level never seen before, he said. Wanted to make sure that powerful exceptions for abortion are adopted across the nation. But Trump said women are poorer than they were 4 years ago, are less healthy than they were 4 years ago, are less safe on the streets than they were 4 years ago, are more depressed and unhappy than they were 4 years ago, and are less optimistic and confident in the future than they were 4 years ago, Trump said. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Donald Trump, again, this being interviewed by Harris Faulkner this morning at 10 a.m. That'll be on Fox News Channel on the Faulkner Focus. Meanwhile, then we've got Vice President Kamala Harris getting ready to sit down with Bret Baier later today on Fox. She will sit down. This interview will be in Pennsylvania. Sitting down with Bret Baier for an interview that will run. That's at on special report. That's at 5 p.m. Central Time. So at 5 p.m. today. That this will, and Bret Baier said, we will have a lot of eyeballs. We have Democrats, independents, and Republicans We have the biggest cable news audience, and this is probably going to get a lot more eyeballs. I think tough but fair is what I pitched it as, and I think that's what they're going to see. And I think Democratic strategy. I'm not. Yeah, here we go. This is a Democratic strategist. Chris Moyer said that Kamala Harris knows there are going to be hard questions. She can handle those, he said. Going through that process and handling that, you're kind of going behind enemy lines a little bit. And here's the thing about Fox News. The number of independents that watch Fox News Channel is huge. Absolutely huge. You've got a great number of independents who watch Fox News Channel. So there definitely there's a big opportunity there. We'll see how she does. So she will be sitting down with Bret Baier for her first Fox News interview that'll be taking place later today. So it's a full day on Fox with Donald Trump talking with women on the Faulkner Focus this morning, and then Kamala Harris being questioned by Bret Baier on a special report this afternoon at 5. So it'll be a big day for news on Fox News Channel. Kamala Harris just sat down with Charlemagne the God, and his program is, and she sat down with him yesterday. And it was an audio town hall aired on iHeartRadio for a full hour, taking also questions from listeners. And off the bat, Charlemagne remarked on people criticizing Harris for sounding very scripted in interviews and rallies. And Harris called this discipline. It's discipline, she said. And Charlemagne said, some people say you have an inability to fearlessly say who you are and what you believe. What do you say to people who say you stay on talking points? And Harris said, I would say, you're welcome. I mean, listen, here's the thing. I love having conversations, which is why I'm so happy to be with you this afternoon. And the reality is that there are certain things that must be repeated to ensure that I have everyone know what I stand for and the issues that I think are at stake in this election. And so it requires repetition. It's actually, I don't think she's wrong about that. I don't believe there's anything wrong with, repeating those things. Harris is one of the reasons why I have been saying I would like to hear more repetition from Donald Trump and more focus. Harris said, some people say that until someone has heard the same thing at least 3 times, it just doesn't stay with you. So repetition is important. And for that reason, yes, at my rallies, I say the same thing when I go to Detroit as I do in Philly, as I do wherever I am, to make sure that people hear and receive what I think are some of the most critical issues that are at stake. This is a story from Fox News. There's also a story from the New York Post. We'll start with Fox News. He brought up Harris' record then as San Francisco district attorney and imprisoning then thousands of black men on drug charges. And she said, Charlemagne said, one of the biggest pieces of misinformation, one of the biggest allegations against you is that you targeted and locked up thousands of black men in San Francisco. Some say you did it to boost your career. Some say you did it out of pure hate for black men. Please tell us the facts. And she said that it's just simply not true. I was the most progressive prosecutor in California on marijuana cases, would not send people to jail for simple possession of weed. and as vice president have been a champion for bringing marijuana down on the schedule, she said. She talked about reparations. She said, I'm running to be president for all Americans. That being said, I do have clear eyes about the disparities that exist and the context in which they exist, meaning history, to your point. What the hell was that? So, and then she continued, so my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position in terms of my immediate plan. So she's going to study reparations. She talked about the border. And this was, I thought, one of the most telling things. Charlemagne said, doesn't the Biden administration have to take some blame for the border? A lot of the blame, because, I mean, the first 3 years, you did get a lot of things wrong with the border. And now this is Charlemagne the God who's saying this, okay? He's recognizing this. You did a lot of things wrong with the border. And then Harris says, no, Charlemagne. Within hours of being inaugurated, the first bill we passed, before we did the Inflation Reduction Act, before we did the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, before we did the Safer Communities Act to deal with gun violence, the first thing we did was a bill to fix the broken immigration system, which, by the way, Trump did not fix when he was president. So it's just the first thing we did was we fixed the border. That was the first thing we did. Then why are we seeing all of these? Why are states being inundated? I mean, you fix the border. Then why are all of these states being inundated? Why is Texas then having to send illegal aliens to other states, trying to dramatize the point as to what we have seen? So it's just crazy. And it's just wild. So let's go back to Donald Trump. Trump saying that the Republican Party is a party of common sense. He had an interview with Bloomberg. And this was the Bloomberg News editor-in-chief, John Micklethwaite. This was at the Economic Club of Chicago. So for those who are saying, well, Donald Trump's afraid, Donald Trump's not doing interviews, and Donald Trump's afraid, and he's out in front of with John Micklethwaite in front of an audience and getting into it. This doesn't seem to me to be a man who's afraid. There's just a lot. You want to talk about misinformation or outright, I mean, let's call them what they are, outright lies. Trump is out there. He's out there more than anybody I've ever seen. Seriously. You ever seen a president or anybody running for president who was out on as many shows and doing as many interviews as Donald Trump has been doing? That's just an empty criticism. So Trump sat down for an interview with John Micklethwaite at the Economic Club of Chicago. Again, Micklethwaite is the Bloomberg News editor-in-chief. So Micklethwaite started on the economy, got into the presidential race, asking Trump which state he believed was most crucial to the election. Trump said, they say Pennsylvania. I think we're doing very well there. Then you look at Michigan too, and I'm doing very well. We're way up in Pennsylvania. We're way up in Michigan. We're doing very well in Arizona. He said, in fact, somebody said they're going to pull the plug in Arizona. They're going to give it up because it looks like we're quite a ways ahead, Trump said. And then he went on to talk, and I appreciated this. And this is why, as the doctor of discernment, when we start talking about common sense, that appeals to me. And Trump did. He said the Republican Party really is the party of common sense. He said, forget about conservative, liberal. we're, let's say, conservative, but we're really a party of we need borders. We need fair elections. We don't want men playing in women's sports. We don't want transgender operations without parental consent. It is 99.9% common sense. It really is common sense. I say we're really a party of common sense, and we want to have great people in our country. And Trump said, I have a good heart. I have a heart where I want people to be taken care of, but I don't want to take in people where millions of people, 21 million people at least, have come in the last 3.5 years, unvetted, unchecked. We don't know anything about them, Trump said. So there was a lot of good points that were made. Anyway, he and Micklethwaite got into it over Trump's economic plan. Because Micklethwaite said Trump's plan would drive up debt and inflation. And Trump said that he served in office without inflation. Yeah, I had 4 years, no inflation, Trump said. So they also got into it over Trump's plan for tariffs on foreign goods. And I'm going to go to the New York Post here, because they've got more details on this. Trump said of his proposed policy, because the editor of Bloomberg was saying the overall effect could be massive. He's saying negatively, could be massive negatively. And Trump replied, he said, it's going to have a massive effect, positive effect. It's going to be a positive effect. And then Trump jabbed him. He said, it must be hard for you to spend 25 years talking about tariffs as being negative and then have somebody explain to you that you're totally wrong, Trump said. So there was a lot of pretty fiery back and forths between the two of them. Micklethwaite pressed Trump on what he thought of critics who claimed that imposing large tariffs would bring the cost back onto the consumer. And he said, you know, America at the moment has $3 trillion worth of imports. You're going to add tariffs to every single one of them. It's going to push up the cost for all those people who want to buy foreign goods. There's the issue. There's the whole issue. You want to buy foreign goods. What Donald Trump wants to do is bring manufacturing back to the United States, produce goods here that people will want to buy. That's the whole point. Even I see this. So then Trump, reacting to this, he asked Trump, isn't that simple mathematics? And Trump said, yeah, it is, but not the way you figured. I was always very good at mathematics, Trump said. And he said, you know, there's another theory. The tariff, you make it so high, so horrible, so obnoxious that they'll come right away. He's talking about coming to the United States. The higher the tariff, the more likely it is the company will come into the United States, build a factory in the United States, so it doesn't have to pay the tariff. And the crowd went nuts. The crowd just absolutely reacted to that. So interesting, very interesting interview. Other big stories this morning: Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin slamming the Department of Justice earlier this week for suing the state over what the administration called the systematic removal of non-citizen voters too close to the election. And Youngkin says they've been doing that since 2006. Now suddenly, he said that this is a program, that a law, Virginia law, that's been on the books since 2006 to remove people from voter rolls who self-identify as a non-citizen. And he said Democratic governors have previously taken ineligible voters off the rolls within the 90-day period before an election. So Youngkin getting ready to fight back. And he said, they actually tick a box that says, I am a non-citizen, or they do not answer the question that they are a citizen, and therefore they self-identify that they are not a citizen. And this is why this is so out of bounds in my mind from the Justice Department. It's stunning that they filed this suit 25 days before a presidential election. What does that tell you? You got people in power who are afraid, and they don't want people who shouldn't be voting removed from voter rolls. But Glenn Youngkin responding to that this week. Speaking of voting, in states that have early voting, South Dakota is one of those. Georgia voters shattered a first-day record for early voting yesterday. By the end of the day, more than 300,000 voters in Georgia had already cast their ballots. That was far more than in fact, it was more than double the number of voters who cast ballots on the first day of early voting in 2020. So that is pretty astounding. It's showing there's a lot of interest out there, and a lot of people are ready to vote early. And that's a look at some of the big stories this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show, 627. And this hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires. See in-store details on how to get rebates from major tire manufacturers. 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson picture and combination windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today. ABC Seamless.
Hi, I'm Bob, owner of your local Brothers Gutters here in Sioux Falls. Our expert team delivers custom solutions to protect your home. Schedule a free estimate today at brothersgutters.com and experience our 5-star service for yourself.
What is Agility Plus? It's the new Medicare supplement Plan G coverage from Avera Health Plans that gives you more.
More benefits at a lower cost.
More comprehensive coverage like physicals plus heart, vascular, and hearing screenings.
That's the Avera Health Plan's new Medicare supplement Agility Plus Plan G. Contact your local agent or request a quote online. AveraHealthPlans.com/Medicare. Network restrictions apply with select plans. A Plan G policy may not cover all of your medical expenses. Neither Avera Health Plans nor its agents are connected with Medicare or state or federal government.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression. Izervay or avastin-capted payload is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or
warmer today than yesterday.
Ask your doctor about Izervay today. Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Mostly sunny skies today, increasing wind from the south at 20 to 35, our high at 63. We also have a red flag warning in effect for very high fire danger. Tonight, south winds will continue, low 45. A fire weather watch for tomorrow, high 72, winds gusting to 40 from the south. From the Storm Center,
And in Sioux Falls at 6:30, it's mostly clear, 36 currently at Kello. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center this morning. Sioux Falls police are investigating 2 different shootings, one on Sunday and the other one Tuesday morning. 5-year-old girl was killed after being struck by a vehicle in Yankton. So Joe will have details on those stories and more for you coming up in moments. Again, currently mostly clear, 36. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
I'm Gianna Gelosi. Former President Donald Trump rallied in Atlanta last night.
Everywhere you look, under Kamala Harris, the American standard of living is in a free fall.
Georgia is considered a toss-up in the Fox Power rankings. Early voting began there yesterday.
Georgia has more than doubled its first-day early voting record. The Secretary of State's office says it has accepted more than 305,000 ballots.
That's Fox's Rich Edson. The Power rankings also show Michigan is now in the toss-up territory. Vice President Kamala Harris was in Detroit for an interview with the Breakfast Club on iHeartRadio.
This is a margin of error race. It's tight. I'm going to win.
Harris is going to sit down for an interview with Fox's Brad Baer tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. Trump joined Harris Faulkner for a Fox News town hall that airs this morning. America is listening to Fox News.
News brought to you by Sioux Falls Implant and Sedation Dentistry. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. No arrests, but Sioux Falls police are investigating a pair of shooting incidents. One took place Sunday evening at an apartment on North Prairie Avenue. A man pulled a gun and shot himself in the leg accidentally, but says he felt threatened and shot a second man in the leg. The other shooting was yesterday morning around 1 a.m. on West Fairfax. Someone shot at a home, and a woman inside was struck by the bullet. Sioux Falls Police Information Officer Sam Clemens says investigators are asking for help in identifying the suspect.
This is one of the types of situations that we really ask the public to help us out. A lot of the time people are up all kinds of hours, day or night. A lot of the times they're going to see something, and those pieces of information can be very valuable to an investigation.
No arrests have been made in either case, and none of the injuries were life-threatening. A 5-year-old girl was killed after being struck by a vehicle in Yankton. Authorities say a truck was re-entering the roadway near the town's public park and struck the child while she was crossing the street. The child was transported to a local hospital where she was pronounced dead. The names have not been released pending notification of family. The Primrose School District is opening up a new early learning and child care school in Sioux Falls. Located at 7500 South Audie Avenue, the 12,000 square foot facility will offer 12 classrooms, indoor and outdoor play areas, and will serve around 176 students. The school is slated to open next summer. And in sports, 2 Minnesota Twins players are being recognized for outstanding defense during the 2024 season. Willie Castro and Carlos Santana were both announced as Gold Glove finalists yesterday. Santana at first base, Castro at the utility position. The Gold Glove winners will be announced on November 3rd. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Mostly sunny skies today for the Sioux Falls area. Our high at 63 with a south wind 20 to 35. Red flag warning in effect for very high fire danger. Forecast tonight, not quite as chilly. Lows in the mid 40s. A south wind will continue. Tomorrow, south winds 20 to 40. High at 72. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
When you want to feel plugged into the community, keep it on Kello. News Talk 1320 107.9 and Kello.com.
Stand by for the inside scoop on the newest form of stalking. It's called text pesting. It's irritating, harassing, and downright creepy, and it's aimed directly at women. I'm Kim Commando for NetSuite. Download the CFO's Guide to AI Machine Learning for free at netsuite.com/Kev. Here's how text pesting works. At major airports, young women report receiving a text telling them how attractive they are and asking them out. The message comes from a man nearby, a total stranger, who saw her pick up her bag at the luggage carousel. So how did he get her number? From the luggage tag. Many luggage tags with names and phone numbers are so easy to read as they ride on the carousel. Here's another. Phone numbers from rideshare apps and food delivery services. Your best defense? Always keep your luggage tag in a holder that hides all your info. And if you do get a text, do not respond and block the number too. Enter to win a brand new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at winfromkim.com. What does the future hold for business? Ask 9 experts and you'll get 10 answers. Rates rising or falling, inflation being up or down. Can someone please invent a crystal ball? Until then, over 40,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one fluid platform. With one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth, giving you the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. With real-time insights and forecasting, you're peering into the future with actionable data. When you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you're spending less time looking backwards and more time on what's next. If I had needed this product, it's exactly what I would use. And speaking of opportunity, you can now download the CFO's Guide to AI Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Kim. This guide is free to you right now at netsuite.com/Kim. netsuite.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires, your Give You More tire and automotive store. Financing programs available, 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Farmers and builders, listen up. Purple Wave Auction is shaking up equipment sales. We're the no-reserve online auction powerhouse where every bid could be a win. From combines to cranes, tractors to excavators, if it has wheels or tracks, we've got it at purplewave.com. Purple Wave is your ticket to upgrade your operation. Join our nationwide buying community today and see why no reserve means maximum opportunity.
Your age has never stopped you from doing more. Your health insurance shouldn't either. Introducing Align by Sanford Health Plan, an all-in-one Medicare Advantage option. With Medicare Parts A and B, prescriptions, $0 premiums and copays, and extra benefits. It's one complete plan to care for the whole year. All from a local insurance provider.
I just get weary. So many of these stories that are trending.
Open enrollment begins.
I go and look at some of them. It's one thing if a story is trending and it's trending at all of the major news outlets, right? It's another thing when stories are trending and they're all coming from websites I never heard of before in my life. That's why you see me throwing so much stuff in the garbage. So I'm sorting stuff out. It's like, this is trash. Help Kello beef up the blood supply Friday, October 18th, 11 to 4 at Outback Steakhouse. Are you looking for a place where independent living feels like home? Got just the thing. Washington Crossing in Sioux Falls. Washington Crossing right now has a rare opening in one of their highly sought after 1-bedroom apartments. So this is, it's a beautiful unit. It's bright, spacious. It features tall ceilings, which will give you a sense of openness and comfort. It's got a southern exposure, which means you'll enjoy plenty of sunlight, especially during the winter months. And with both in-floor heat and a furnace, you'll be able to stay warm no matter the weather. Washington Crossing believes in offering premier independent living at a great value. And the residents there love their community. It's very vibrant. They love the convenience of maintenance-free living and the peace of mind that comes with knowing that you're in a place that's designed for comfort and care. Take a free private tour today. Absolutely free, no obligation. They would love to show you around, answer your questions, and I think when you do that, you'll see why so many people are choosing Washington Crossing. Give them a call today, 605-271-9273. That's 605-271-9273. Washington Crossing, premier independent living at a great value. .638, mostly clear, and 36. Great to have you along this morning. About an hour from now, Ken Versteeg of Community Blood Bank will join us. We'll be talking about beefing up the blood supply. The annual event coming to the Outback Steakhouse this Friday. So we'll have complete details for you coming up Again, Ken will be in studio about an hour from now to tell you all about it. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Well, it was a record number of ballots were cast on the first day of early voting in Georgia. So they passed their early voting record with over 150,000 ballots cast already. Pretty incredible turnout on the first day. Speaking of Georgia, a Georgia judge issued a declaration yesterday that the 2024 presidential election must be certified by an immovable deadline of November 12th. Two recent rules that were passed by the State Board of Elections have been challenged by Democrats. So the judge yesterday is saying the election must be certified by November 12th. Also, more than 90 people are still missing in North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. So that hurricane claimed the lives of at least 251 people across 7 states. In North Carolina alone, 123 people have died. And so the search continues. At least 92 people are still missing. And at a news conference yesterday, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper says that they have formed a task force to help locate people who have yet to be found. Absolutely incredible, the aftermath and impact of those storms. Also trending, there are a number of Donald Trump stories that are trending every single morning, and frankly, some of them are just laughable, to be honest with you, because they're so. And I mentioned this to those who are watching the stream a few moments ago. You know, I go through these trending stories and I keep an eye toward, are they coming from legitimate media? You know, are they coming from, in other words, are they coming from a variety of different sources like CNN, Fox News, you know, New York Post, publications you would have heard of, the New York Times, or are they coming from a bunch of websites you never heard of in your life? And I've got to tell you, some of these websites, I've never heard of them. And when I see a story and I click on it, and it's like, okay, this is trending. And then you start going through and all these websites, and it's like, here's one I've never heard of. Another one I've never heard of. Here's one I don't trust. It's so-called news sites that are out there. And then I look at the headline and the way they're framing the story, and I'm like, this isn't news. This is propaganda, man. This is propaganda. I know the difference. Just getting tougher and tougher. There's just a lot more of these websites popping up, and I'm like, how then do how are these websites trending? Anyway, Donald Trump playing music for his supporters after 2 medical emergencies disrupted his town hall in Pennsylvania. So he played music for supporters due to medical emergencies, and then he was dancing and so on. And then you got the legacy media, you know, on there. We just, can't believe that Trump's out there and he spends 30 minutes dancing. There were medical emergencies, man. There were medical emergencies. That's why he spent that time. He had planned on spending that time doing that. The legacy media has just become so poisonous. Just absolutely crazy. Also, Donald Trump suggesting he'd use the military against the enemy from within, and people are then, there's all kinds of alarm over this. And I watched the piece of him on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo on Sunday. And he suggested that an enemy from within could threaten election day security. And he said that if necessary, the National Guard or military may have to intervene. And people are just absolutely, having a fit over this. Now again, keep in mind, election day, Donald Trump's not in a position to activate the National Guard, or he's not the president of the United States. We all understand that, right? And you got just kooks reacting to this. So Trump said, this is really unfortunate because the point that Trump was making, he said, I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within. We have some very bad people, some sick people, radical left lunatics, and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or really necessary by the military. But he said, we have two enemies. We have the outside enemy, and then we have the enemy from within. And the enemy from within, in my opinion, is more dangerous than China, Russia, and these other countries, he said. So this is what people are reacting to. And again, having the National Guard, it wouldn't be Donald Trump's call. That would be up to, governors. And this is just crazy. So Donald Trump also sat down with the Bussin' with the Boys podcast to talk about the election, also talking about transgender athletes in women's sports. And he was asked a host of questions, including how he planned to unite the country, given the divided state that we currently live in. And he said, you want to see the country united, but we have two very different, you have a very conservative side and a conservative side, and then you have people who do not want to see an open border and things, Trump said. And a lot of it's so far out, like, for instance, they want men playing in women's sports. I don't think I could ever say I'm thrilled about that, okay? I've seen it. I've seen people really hurt, Trump said. And then he talked about boxing. He said in women's boxing, they both won gold medals, and you saw the young Italian girl, got hit a couple of times. She said bye-bye. She got hit very hard. But she's fighting a man, Trump said. And then he said, success will bring the country together. He said, I'm telling you, the country was coming together despite the fact, that we were, what we were saying before about the divisions. Donald Trump also at the speaking to the Economic Club of Chicago. And I mentioned this earlier this hour in more detail, but Trump was making an appearance and in a conversation with Bloomberg editor-in-chief John Micklethwait. It was noted that Kamala Harris was given the same opportunity to sit down and discuss her economic vision, but has declined to do so. And Trump, of course, pounced on that. He talked about tariffs. We're going to protect companies with strong tariffs because I'm a believer in tariffs. And he acknowledged that Micklethwait is anti-tariff. Trump said, to me, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff, my favorite word, he said. He said, China is building massive auto plants in Mexico. They're going to build them. They're going to take those cars and sell them into the United States. They're very near the border. They're going to have all the advantages and none of the disadvantages. And that's going to be the end of Michigan, he said, among the comments. Also, Donald Trump canceled the planned appearance on CNBC this week. And of course, then CNN pounces on Donald Trump has canceled 2 appearances now. Hey, could we, you at CNN, could you take a breath and maybe relax? And wow. This is why I get so strung up, is because the media is totally in just overreaction mode constantly. It's just incredible, the crap. You sort through all this stuff and it's like, what am I even looking at? All right. Like this, over 230 doctors and healthcare providers are urging Donald Trump to release his medical records. Trump is not releasing his medical records. President Joe Biden has issued a warning to Iran, threatening that any assassination plot on former President Trump would be considered an act of war. So Biden's warning follows after Trump's campaign was briefed by U.S. intelligence regarding Iranian assassination threats. So the Biden administration apparently aware of those threats, and that's what prompted a spokesman for the National Security Council to issue the statement and repeating the president's warning. Also, the Biden administration has warned Israel that its actions in Gaza could threaten future U.S. military aid to Israel. All right, other stories trending this morning. Volleyball players at a university in Nevada have decided to forfeit their upcoming match against San Jose State University because the other team has a transgender playing on the team. And so the players got together and said, we'll forfeit the game. So hours after they did this, the school announced, this is the University of Nevada, the school said, no, they intend to move forward with the match. The players' decision and statement were made independently without consultation with the university or the athletic department. So in other words, the players decided we're not going to play. How are you going to force them if the players say, okay, you have the match, we're not going to show up? What do you do then? This stuff has just gotten way crazy out of hand. That's what we're talking about, in my opinion. This is a troubling story. There are 2 boys that have been killed in separate haunted hayride incidents. And it happened on Friday and then again on Saturday. On Friday, and I've told you about this, this was a hayride event in Tennessee. That story has been trending the last several days. But there was a similar incident that took place at a haunted hayride event in Minnesota the following night. This was Saturday. A 13-year-old boy died at an annual Halloween event in St. Augusta called the Harvest of Horror Haunted Hayride. And he was run over by a wagon that one of the trailers was, or one of the tractors was pulling. So that's a sad story. 2 boys killed in a span of hours, 2 different states. Also, Nathan Wade has appeared for his deposition in the U.S. House of Representatives. And he is one of many investigative threads launched by House Republicans into the Georgia Trump case. And that brought a strong reaction from Fani Willis, the DA of Fulton County. She blasted House Republicans for politically motivated tactics. I thought, oh man, who are you to talk? Who are you to talk? You have got to be kidding me. A former guitarist for Ozzy Osbourne, Jake E. Lee, was shot multiple times early yesterday morning. Authorities believe it was a random shooting in Las Vegas. He was out walking his dog. He's since been in intensive care, but is expected to make a full recovery. So he was shot multiple times in Las Vegas. Also trending this morning, the NFL announces that Atlanta will host the Super Bowl in 2028. Another sports story trending, Texas remains number one, Army and Navy. But this is the latest college football poll. So Texas at number one, Army and Navy both ranked for the first time since 1960 in a new AP college football poll. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. It's great to have you along this morning. Coming up later this morning, we'll visit with Jim Olander of the Sioux Falls Stampede. Stampede had a great weekend. They won both of their games this past weekend. But they've always got tough games coming up. So we'll talk about that with Jim Olander this morning, coming up just after 8. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Sioux Empire's most talked about talk shows are right.
Thanks so much for letting me join you. I hope you'll be back at 9:30 for the 4th hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. You take care. Have a great Wednesday.